Have you ever noticed how people often assume that living alone as you get older must mean loneliness? I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, "Poor guy, he lives by himself." But here's the truth. Living alone as an older man doesn't always mean being isolated. In fact, for many men, it's the first time they've ever experienced true freedom, peace, and self-discovery. Welcome back to Journey After 60. Today we're going to talk about the surprising benefits of living alone as an older man, the kinds of gifts most people overlook, but that can actually make this season of life deeply rewarding. Before we dive in, let me ask, do you live alone, or have you ever considered it? Share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you see it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more conversations about living fully and wisely after 60. Now, let's begin with the first benefit, one that often takes men by surprise when they finally find themselves living on their own. Number 1. Freedom to live on your own terms. One of the greatest gifts of living alone as an older man is the freedom to create your life exactly the way you want it. After years, sometimes decades, of compromise, responsibility, and constant adjustments for family or partners, having your own space means you finally get to decide what feels right for you. Psychologist Dr. Daniel J. Levinson, who studied adult development, emphasized that later stages of life are marked by a search for authenticity, the need to live in alignment with who you really are. Autonomy becomes essential, not just a preference. When you live alone, that autonomy is fully yours. I remember when I first began living by myself, the feeling of not having to follow anyone else's schedule was incredibly liberating. It was deeply satisfying to wake up when I wanted, make breakfast just the way I liked it, and spend the entire morning reading or diving into a hobby without interruption. After 60, living alone also helped me rediscover my love for painting. With no one around, I set up a small studio in the living room where I could paint late into the night without worrying about disturbing anyone. Those evenings became some of the most creative and fulfilling times of my life, something I never experienced when I was sharing a space. For me, the freedom to explore passions, no matter how quirky or unconventional, is what made single living truly rewarding. It's not just that life feels lighter when you live on your own terms, it shows. Friends notice it, family feels it, and even women are drawn to that quiet confidence of a man who is at ease with himself. Have you experienced this sense of freedom too? Maybe living alone has helped you rediscover an old hobby, or even given you a new sense of purpose. Share your story in the comments. Your journey might be exactly what another man out there needs to hear as he searches for his own direction. Of course, freedom is just the beginning. Once you've tasted it, another surprise often follows, something many men don't expect when they first live alone. Number 2. The peace that heals. At first, the silence can feel unsettling, too sharp, too still, too full of memories. But if you sit with it long enough, if you resist the urge to fill it with television, chatter, or endless to-do lists, the quiet begins to change. It stops echoing with loss and starts to soften, like warm sunlight filtering through a window. After years of raising a family, working full-time, and sharing space with others,
Most men forget what true silence even sounds like. Not the silence of being ignored, but the kind of silence that asks nothing of you, the kind that holds you. My closest friend, Samuel, now 73, spent most of his life in a busy household. Kids running through hallways, dinners filled with voices and opinions. Then his wife passed away, his children moved out, and he found himself alone each morning. At first, he filled the air with noise, news on the radio, music in every room. But one morning, he left everything off. He simply sat there, coffee in hand, watching the steam rise and vanish in the pale morning light. It felt like the first time in years I could actually hear myself think, he told me. And I realized I wasn't broken, I was just tired. And silence was where I started to heal. And it's not just a feeling. Science has shown the same thing. In 2013, a study in brain structure and function found that spending even 2 hours a day in silence helped the brain grow new cells in the hippocampus, the part linked to memory and emotional balance. Silence doesn't just calm the mind, it repairs it. It helps regulate the nervous system, lowers stress hormones, and allows both body and mind to reset. Peace does something chaos never can. It gives your nervous system a chance to breathe. Your body slows down. Your heartbeat steadies. Your thoughts find their way back home. You begin to notice the little things again, the rustle of leaves, the creak of wood, the sensation of your own breath on a cool morning. These aren't distractions, they're invitations. Invitations to remember that you're still here, still alive, still capable of being moved by simple beauty. Silence isn't something to run from, it's something to listen to let it hold you. To let it become the space where grief exhales, where regrets soften, and where the rhythm of your days finally falls into step with the rhythm of your soul. And once silence teaches you to breathe again, the next gift begins to emerge. The joy of shaping your space exactly the way you want it.
Number 3. Your home, your rules. Total control of your space. A house is not just a place to live. It's where you find yourself among your own choices and decisions. That's why there is a special comfort in stepping into a space that is entirely your own. No compromises, no negotiations, no silent tension over where something should go or how things ought to be arranged. Just the quiet certainty, this is my home, and I belong here. I felt this deeply when I met John during a round of golf with friends. Like me, he lives alone. At 72, after his wife passed away, he downsized to a modest 2-room home. He didn't have much, but what he had was freedom. One wall became his memory wall, filled with photos from his Navy days, snapshots of his kids when they were little, and pictures of his favorite fishing trips. A worn recliner sat by the window, right where the afternoon sun poured in. From a small radio, old country songs played softly. No one else would decorate it this way, John said with a smile, but everything here means something to me. That's the beauty of having your own space. You no longer have to impress anyone or live up to expectations. You create comfort for yourself, and in doing so, you reclaim something that age often tries to take away, a sense of mastery over your own life.
And it's more than just comfort. Studies have shown that having control over your environment, even in small ways, boosts mental health, lowers anxiety, and can even slow cognitive decline. But beyond the science, it's the simple joy of choosing what you wake up to, which chair you sink into with a book, or what scent drifts from your kitchen. These little decisions whisper a powerful message. You still matter here. Hang the photos you love. Keep the books you actually read. Cook the meals you crave, even if it's the same dinner 3 nights in a row. Your home should feel like a warm, familiar embrace every time you walk through the door. After a lifetime of adjusting, compromising, and tending to the needs of others, this space, this home, is where you finally get to say, without hesitation, "This is me." If creating a home that mirrors who you are brings comfort, imagine what happens when your money starts doing the same thing, serving your life instead of weighing it down. Number 4. Financial freedom. Lighter, simpler, and truly yours. There's a special kind of relief that comes when the heavy weight of financial obligation finally begins to lift. For decades, your income may have been pulled in every direction. Mortgage payments, tuition, car repairs, family needs, unexpected emergencies. You managed it, often with silent sacrifice. But now, living alone, something shifts. The pace slows, the demands ease, and your money, what you earn, what you've saved, what you choose to spend, finally feels like it belongs to you. Financial freedom at this stage of life isn't about luxury, it's about clarity. You begin to see what truly matters and what doesn't. That big house that once held a whole family, maybe now it's just rooms you don't need to fill. Downsizing isn't giving up, it's letting go of noise, letting go of what no longer serves you. And in that simplicity, you gain something profound: agency. You decide where your money goes. Maybe it's a quiet vacation, a new hobby, or a comfortable chair you've always wanted. Maybe it's just the peace of knowing the bills are paid, the fridge is full, and no one is depending on you to carry it all. You learn to live with less, not out of lack, but out of wisdom. You stop chasing and start choosing. No more spending to impress, to compete, or to keep up appearances. You spend for comfort, for peace, for joy. And perhaps for the first time, you spend without guilt. Your choices reflect your values. Not survival, not status, but something quieter, more honest. Living alone won't erase every financial worry, but it clears away the noise. It lets you see what truly serves your life. And in that space, money stops being just a tool to get through the month. It becomes a way to care for yourself, on your terms, at your pace. It's not about having more. It's about finally using what you have in a way that makes you feel whole. What about you? Has living alone shifted the way you see and use your money? Drop your thoughts below. Your perspective might give someone else the clarity they've been searching for. When the noise of financial pressure fades, it clears room for something richer than any dollar can buy: the quiet strength of genuine connection. Number 5. Relationships become deeper, less frequent, more meaningful. Something unexpected happens when you start spending more time alone. You begin to value connection differently, not by how often it happens or how long the conversation lasts, but by how it makes you feel when it's over. When you aren't surrounded by people every day, you start to see who truly matters. And when they reach out, it doesn't feel like obligation. It feels like grace. The truth is, living alone quiets the noise of social relationships. You stop making small talk out of habit, or enduring visits that leave you more drained than fulfilled. You stop chasing closeness, and instead welcome it as a gift, not a demand. A phone call becomes something to look forward to. Lunch with a grown child carries more weight. Even a handwritten letter or a simple "I'm thinking of you" text can linger in your heart for days. Because now, when people show up, it's intentional. It's chosen. It's love without a schedule. Living alone also shifts something inside you. You no longer feel pulled in a dozen emotional directions. You have space to listen more carefully, to speak more honestly, to be fully present when someone opens up. And when you share, it's not just words, it's reflection, it's memory, it's care, without rush. Some people assume living alone leads to isolation, but in many ways it leads to refinement. You let go of relationships built on duty and lean into the ones rooted in truth. And while you may not see people every day, when you do, it matters. The absence between visits makes the moments richer. Time apart builds appreciation. You realize you don't need a crowd to feel connected, just a few hearts that still hold space for yours. And maybe that's the truest meaning of a deep relationship. Not constant presence, but shared meaning in the quiet spaces between.
We've walked through 5 of the quiet gifts of living alone as an older man. But before you click away, I want you to take a moment, look around your own space, not with criticism, not with longing, but with presence. What does it reflect back to you? Does it feel like a place you truly live, or just a place you sleep? It's easy to let old routines carry us, to let years blur by without question. But living alone is not an ending. It's an opening. You don't need to change everything at once. Maybe it's as simple as rearranging a chair so the sunlight falls differently. Maybe it's bringing home fresh flowers just for yourself. Maybe it's dusting off an old record you loved at 30 and letting it fill the room again. Living alone isn't a failure. It isn't emptiness. It's another kind of freedom, another kind of strength. In this space, you get to decide what matters now, what brings comfort, what brings life. You've already worked hard to build a life, to endure loss, to raise others, to show up again and again, even when no one noticed. Don't let these years pass on autopilot. Don't let the silence go to waste. Let it feed you. Let it remind you that you're still here, still choosing, still growing. And maybe tonight, instead of filling the quiet, you'll sit with it. Light a candle, crack the window, breathe a little slower, and feel, even for a moment, the quiet power of being exactly where you are. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one small change you'll make this week to bring more comfort, meaning, or peace into your home? Share it in the comments. Your story might be the reminder someone else needs today. And if this video gave you something to think about, I'd be grateful if you'd like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Sometimes the simplest message shared at the right time can change someone's day or even their life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.